Hello there, welcome to Sydney, Australia. How are you going? Well, my first time on radio. I cheated a bit. It was right at the beginning of the 90s. I must have been around 13 or 14. I was on holiday in Bournemouth in the county of Dorset in England. And I phoned up a BBC radio station, a local BBC radio station in Devon, funnily enough, called BBC Radio Devon. I remember the jingle now. It went something like, BBC Radio Devon, from Plymouth to Axminster to Exeter. This is Radio Devon from the BBC. BBC Radio Devon. The jingle went something like that, you get my drift. Anyway, I phoned up from a phone box just outside Bournemouth Pier, just very nearby, and phoned up the David Bassett programme. David Bassett, for viewers in London, may remember him from LBC Radio in the early 80s, mid-80s I think. Anyway, I phoned up his show, the David Bassett programme. He put me on there, and the reason I wanted to go on air on his talkback was I had a cousin over from Perth in Australia visiting his family in Devon, and I said, "Oh, hello David, I'd like to try and find my cousin Matthew who's over from Perth." Now, I spoke to David, great guy, and that was my first time on the radio. Just out of interest, Matthew did call me. He found out where I was staying. The embarrassing thing was, our conversation only lasted about a minute. I couldn't think of anything to say. So Matthew, if you're watching this, I'm so sorry. But that was my first time on radio. I wasn't in a studio, but I was on a talkback show with David Bassett on BBC Radio Devon. That's my first time. Take care.